When you've had a long week and want to mix it up with something new and interesting to eat, try Blue Apron's 2 or 4 serving menu plans with those hard-to-find ingredients sure to spice up your weekend. With 60-plus options each week, you can choose from an ever-changing mix of high-quality meat, fish, vegetarian, WW recommended, and wellness offerings. Order now and get $110 off across your first 5 orders when you visit blueapron.com/unique.
Hey, it's Matt from the Direct-to-Video Connoisseur here. Thanks again for listening to the DTVC podcast. Before we jump in, I wanted to quickly let you know that my new novel, A Girl and a Gun, is available on Amazon now, both on Kindle and paperback. It follows Justin, a successful writer whose past as a scriptwriter for a fetish porn site comes back to haunt him and threatens to derail his career. As he's picking up the pieces, he gets an opportunity to make a movie called A Girl and a Gun with a rom-com star. Justin may have bitten off more than he can chew, though, because she's notoriously difficult to work with. If you're interested, you can find the link on our webpage, along with the link to my first novel, Chad in Accounting. If you have any questions, please reach out, and I thank you for the support. Now, on to the podcast.
Welcome back to the Direct-to-Video Connoisseur podcast. As always, this is Matt here, and I am joined by 2 guests who, we tend to think of as collaborators who, it's been a little while since you guys have been on, but welcome back, Ty and Brett from Comeuppance Reviews.
Hey,
Happy to be back.
We're back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're Brett.
Yeah, you're Ty.
That's me.
So
we're back.
More voices in case they don't.
Right.
Do we have similar voices? Maybe? I don't know. I don't think
no.
No.
I think the one thing for people to keep in mind is that if anybody's doing impressions, that's definitely Ty. So
Yeah, Ty's the impression guy.
Yeah.
He's the Rich Little of the family. I can't do impressions. I've tried, sometimes, I can fake it, like Stallone or, not, I can't even do it. Ty, can you just do some
What would you
Stallone?
like? You want Stallone? That's Stallone speaking as Brett Barger, a great guy.
Oh, boy. Wow, we're going deep.
And then we got, who else would you like? What do you want, Dolph?
Dolph?
Dolph Lundgren. I'm back on the podcast with Matt Connoisseur.
How about Owen C. Wilson?
Oh, Owen Wow Wilson? Yeah. Wow. You want all of them? Okay.
No. Well,
What do you want next? You want Trump? I'll do Trump later. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and the Dolph one too, that's one I think we're going to create maybe as a rule that whenever we have somebody on to do unsung Dolph or to talk Dolph, they've got to do their best Dolph impression.
Yeah, it's a great idea. I hope we can get that part 3 up and running soon.
Yeah.
We will.
Yeah. My Dolph is a little bit. I think your Dolph is great because it's like it's kind of like that perfect kind of Dolph where he's like kind of like the more current Dolph where it's like he's almost like he doesn't have the energy to talk, like he just wants to just get whatever he's doing over with. Yeah.
Well, that's what's so great about those command performance or something like that. It's like one liner. It's like, I guess the show's over. It's like it's just like okay.
The one I always think about is Agent Red, where like they're flying into the footage from they're on a helicopter flying into the footage from Stormcatcher or Storm. Is it Stormcatcher? Is that the name of the movie?
Stormcatcher.
Yeah. So they're flying into that footage, and Dolph is about to like invade. He's about to be the bad guy. He's going to be what was the bad guy in Stormcatcher. He's invading this, and they're like, hey, do you think you're going to be able to do this? He's like, hell if I know, And it's like, they're like, what if you don't get out? Don't wait for me, It's like that. okay, let's just.
Well, you never know what footage people might be talking to in these DTV movies from the 90s,
exactly.
2000s.
It's almost like John Wayne. You sound like for a second.
Yeah, it might be more. It could be more Wayne-ish. You're right. Like that could be more like yeah. I missed it. I think I had to run errands, but they were like doing like a marathon of mod on one of the retro channels. And I guess like the neighbor, Conrad McBain. Is that it? Is it Conrad McBain or Conrad Bain?
I think it's just Bain.
Just Bain, yeah. I guess like he was like a big staunch Republican on the show. I guess he was having John Wayne visit. And they didn't believe him that John Wayne was visiting, but it actually was John Wayne. And I missed it, but I would have loved to have seen that. You know, like, hey, Maud, with all your liberal highfalutin stuff, I'm here to show.
Yeah. Good. This is good. I wish, John Wayne was like younger now, because I could see him in the straight-to-video, Redbox genre now. Like,
yeah, he would have been great in that Chuck Connors kind of thing.
Yeah,
that'd be
great.
great.
A late career, renaissance. If he, was born a little later in time and maybe made it to like the direct-to-video era, he definitely, I think, would have been in these DTV movies, kind of like Lawrence Tierney and other actors of an older vintage. I do think John Wayne, almost positive, would have done that.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great? And it would be like, I don't know, Dolph Lundgren and who else would be in this movie?
Be like Luke Goss. And,
Luke Goss, Dolph Lundgren, and John Wayne.
John Wayne, and he'd be in a sit-down role, and he'd be like, the boss of the company, and he'd, and he's in a couple scenes, and he doesn't really do much, but he's there.
He's there. He's like, hey, look, it's John Wayne. Wow.
Or like Chuck Connors, just throw like some Navy admiral's outfit on him, just like have him. Right. Yeah, just like,
that's what they did in that Fred Williamson movie.
Right, like secretive conversations on the waterfront, right? And he's just
Wait,
exactly.
which one?
There's a park bench in front of the Washington Monument, and talking about some conspiracy in the government.
That's your conspiracy park bench. It's like
and that's kind of funny. That could be like there's people on the bench, and they're like, we have a conspiracy. Move. And
move.
We have to talk conspiracy. So it's like, and then you have like a guy like dressed as an alien, and he's talking to like a military commander, and he has to move out of the way.
Yeah,
I would love that.
Regular park benches. Yeah, there's only one conspiracy park bench.
Yeah, that's the one they talk about the conspiracies. But
there's like an old guy
there's a lot of conspiracies.
Right, yeah, like there's like an old guy like feeding pigeons, and these two just show up and like kind of move him away. Like, come on, you gotta go. Come on. We have conspiracy to talk about here.
Oh, he's a DC local, like he knows. Yes. So he just like he just shows them like a briefcase, and he goes, "Oh, okay," and he gets them.
It's like I got it.
And somebody has like a full name. The guy at the park bench feeding the birds. It's like Walter Smith. Like Walter Smith, we gotta get out of the way. It's like,
maybe like some teenagers like making out, and you gotta get out of here, kids. What do you mean, old man?
At first they don't, but then the military guy just taps the briefcase, and then they get scared and run away.
I was like, oh, okay, well, go to Lover's Lane, you two. It's like,
right, exactly. Yeah, the park bench conspiracy thing, it's because it's like how do you not like if I'm somebody who's in a park, now of course the last thing I want to do is get myself embroiled in some kind of conspiracy, but it's going to look pretty conspicuous if like for example, Chuck Connors, a 6'6" man in a Navy admiral's costume, is sitting on a park bench talking to Fred Williamson. I'm going to be like, what are these two talking? There's got to be something big going on. Maybe I need to get away from this, because like the last thing you want to do is be like that guy, like the Cary Grant North by Northwest guy who's embroiled in a controversy, in a conspiracy, and next thing you know, you're hanging off the Mount Rushmore at the end of the film.
Because you think that maybe the government would have that bench bugged or watched or something. Yeah, they know that there's going to be a conversation there.
That would be a fantastic thing in a movie. Maybe we should save this for our next No Subject, the idea of like the conspiracy bench that gets bugged.
That could be the title, Conspiracy Bench.
Conspiracy bench. Yeah.
Right.
It's like Hot
John
Bench.
Cusack.
John Cusack? Oh, because he sits on a bench and must love dogs, right?
Well, no, that seems, it'd be like, I can just see it'd be a DTV movie with him, and on the cover it's like a graphic of him running forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he would be vaping and wearing a baseball cap.
Yeah. Sure.
And it's like, because that's what he does now. And it's like,
but that'd be perfect because he's trying to be inconspicuous. He's just another guy vaping with a baseball cap.
He's like, that's a good point.
Yeah, he's a Cubs fan, right? So it'd be like a dirty old like Chicago Cubs hat, and then like the pea coat with the collar popped up, and then Yeah, the vaping, and I think John Cross was talking about this, like the Ramones shirt, right? That's like the Ramones t-shirt because he's still like the cool hipster Gen X guy.
Right, he's the say anything guy still.
Right.
Well, it's kind of like Chuck Connors with his Brooklyn Dodgers cap and jacket.
Yeah, I love when he wears the jacket. You know, it's like, okay, that's the best part.
Yeah, I was trying to think if he actually played for them or not, because I know he played for the Boston Celtics. I think he may have tried out for the Brooklyn Dodgers and like was in their system or something. Yeah, he was quite a big deal at that time. My wife and I watched The Rifleman because that's on the
Sure.
Don't make me say it. Don't make me do the thing. And I'll do Rifleman with Chuck Connor.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, but before, I don't mean to cut you off, but we were just talking about how TV shows these days don't say the name of the show.
That's true.
Like, back in the old days, they would say, The Rifleman, or the show I just watched with Charles Bronson, Man with a Camera. You know, every episode it starts with Man with a Camera. And, and an announcer says the name of the show.
Right.
We don't have that anymore.
TV shows these days don't do that.
No, Maverick. We were watching Maverick the other day. They were like, Maverick with James Garner, you know, and it's like, and I think that show was like late 50s. I think like maybe The Rifleman was kind of the same, like late 50s, early 60s. And I guess they must have thought like TV was such a new medium that like,
well,
you know.
Yeah, I think so because it was really kind of a carryover from radio. So like, you know, in radio, obviously you have to say the name of the show because it's audio medium. And they probably had that same mindset. Like you have to say the name of the show. That's just my guess. Yeah. It would be great if they did shows like that now. Like you know, like The Mandalorian, you know, if it was just like, you know, like Jon Favreau.
Mandalorian.
You know, like,
Mandalorian.
Yeah, exactly. I can't do a Jon Favreau.
But Gina Carano.
Right, exactly. Yes. Was starring Gina Carano.
Was starring Gina Carano.
And
News on the mark.
He's like 100 years old, but he's still doing it.
Yeah, Don Pardo. You know.
Yeah, Don Pardo.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, I cut you off.
No, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, but it would be it's one of the interesting things when I watch some of these old shows where it's like some of the things that happen in the shows you're just kind of like, okay, it's kind of whatever, but other things you're like, wait, you know, why don't they just do some of this stuff like they used to, you know, like you know, like watching, you know, Maverick or The Rifleman. It's like, yes, this show kind of just works. It's, you know, it's very, like The Rifleman was always a very simple show, and, you know, it's just Chuck Connors with his kid, and somebody shows up in town and gives the town a hard time, and Chuck Connors has to sort them out somehow within, you know, I guess it was more than 23 minutes at that time because they didn't do as many commercials. But, you know, that idea, it's like, nowadays TV shows, it's like, it's gotta be like, you know, what, like
18 minutes for a sitcom now. That's about it. I don't even get 22 anymore.
Well, and there were so many episodes back then. Like they took that plot of The Rifleman and they did it like 600 times.
Right. Yeah. And it wasn't like it was like a 13-hour movie, right? Where it was like, you know, like whatever happened in this Rifleman episode didn't affect the other Rifleman episodes. Right.
Well, yeah, I look at a lot of these shows. Like the one I just watched, you know, I think you want to do some recently seen type stuff. I did watch
Dr. Death?
Well, yeah, Dr. Death, we could talk about that, but I think more appropriate to the show is The Kill Point.
Oh, you just watched The Kill Point, yeah.
Yeah, so The Kill Point is like that. It's like 10 episodes?
Yeah, it's like 8 episodes, yeah.
But it's like an 8-hour movie. It's all one continuous thing.
I like a good, you know, arc like that, you know. It's more fun.
And it's kind of amazing that they were able to make that like a bank heist / hostage situation 8 hours. Like we've seen that in a lot of 90-minute movies. They took that plot and really extended it. You know, it's John Leguizamo versus Donnie Wahlberg. Yeah. And Grillo.
Right.
Yeah, and Tobin Bell. It was a good cast.
Tobin Bell. So there's a lot of our favorite kind of B-movie actors in there. And there, you know, there's some shooting and, you know, it's very relevant to this podcast and our podcast.
Well, the thing about Donnie Wahlberg. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that as far as recently seen things, I think that's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
No, I've just been watching Blind Spot. I haven't watched many movies.
Now, was Blind Spot the one with the woman who has all the tattoos?
Yeah, she has all the tattoos. I'm finally getting around to. I just got to season 3, so.
Yeah. My wife and I, we were watching Scrubs. So my wife is a huge Scrubs fan. Like our cat is named JD, and she wanted to introduce me to the show. So we kind of went through it, and kind of like what you're talking about. Scrubs was kind of like a part serialized, part not serialized. Like the episodes tended to kind of work within the 23-minute frame, but then there would be certain pieces that would go over different episodes. So it was like you could watch them out of order, but you kind of couldn't, right? Because it's like, oh, what's going on with Turk and Carla having a baby? Like, oh, they're still pregnant for this episode or something like that. But when we finished it, we were trying to find something else to binge or to watch. And I was making dinner Wednesday night, and my wife's like, I just want to watch like a bad Halloween movie. Like, let me see what I can find. And she found this thing called The Dog Who Saved Halloween. It was like an ABC Family movie, which we didn't know it was ABC Family. We just thought it was on Tubi. We didn't know anything about it. But it had Joey Lawrence as the voice of the dog. And then Mayim Bialik as the voice of another dog. And the basic premise of the movie was essentially ripping off The Burbs. So I remember that movie with Tom Hanks and, Corey Feldman. They just rip off that plot, only there's talking animals who don't actually talk, right? They just talk to each other by, them showing the dog's face and then being like, oh, that's Joey Lawrence talking for the dog to, Mayim Bialik was the other dog. So it was kind of cool too from the Blossom standpoint that you had that sort of Blossom.
Oh, is that why? Because now Blossom's back, but in dog form?
Yeah, well, no, because it's the only movie they did this in. Like, they never had Mayim Bialik back. And I think actually, so we discovered that the original voice for the dog was Mario Lopez. And so I guess...
Good casting.
Yeah.
They should do that for the Saved by the Bell. Is get Mario Lopez, Mike Gosselaar, Berkeley, everyone that's coming back as dogs.
Right. Did the dog say, whoa?
Yeah.
Or,
did the dog still go, whoa, or no?
No, that was the problem.
Or whatever the dog version of whoa is.
It was everything else Lawrence-y except for the whoa. Like, maybe the whoa is trademarked by the Blossom. Maybe NBC owns the rights.
The Blossom was there, It's
yeah,
that's a good point.
Yeah, but they might own the rights. Remember, like, Conan O'Brien, when he left NBC, like, he lost the rights to, like, some of his characters, like the big ear of corn guy and some of that stuff. Or, like, what was it, Otis K. Dribbles, or the dog that, or the masturbating bear, stuff like that. I think he lost the rights to those when he left NBC.
Well, maybe, the rights to whoa really go to Jenna Van Oy or Ken Wass. Just like he's me all four.
Wow, I'm impressed. You can name more cast members from Blossom.
I have kind of a funny Jenna Van Oy story for when I was going to the University of Maine. They had the UMaine radio station, and you could like just sign up and do radio shows there. And so my buddy would do a show, and I would like join him on the show. But I guess Jenna Van Oy had a TV show after Blossom, like a sitcom that I don't think it really went anywhere. But she was on. I think she went to the UMaine campus to the radio, like did an appearance at the radio show to talk about her show. So there was like an autographed picture of her in the radio studio. Like it was like this big deal that Jenna Van Oy had appeared. She was the only celebrity that there was a picture of there.
Didn't you watch a movie? It was like a direct-to-video movie, and she's in it. And
was it the one with Gosselaar as the evil rapist?
Freshman Fall.
Freshman Fall, yeah, she's hanging around.
She's in Freshman Fall. Okay, that must be what I'm thinking of. So she's done other good work outside of Blossom, but because Freshman Fall is a winner. People should see that if they haven't.
Yeah, I was trying to see. I don't know.
We watched the other dog movies, right? That's what you're mentioning.
So we watched.
Yes, it was October, so you're watching the Halloween one, so you're going to watch all the other ones.
So we watched the other ones. So the deal is, it's like Kevin James, right? I think his brother's name is like Gary Valentine, who looks just like him, or looks like a poor man's version of him.
Okay.
He plays the bumbling dad, and then Dean Cain plays this like bumbling thief with a guy who looks like Big Pussy from The Sopranos.
So they couldn't get
going on.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot like, for example, the Dean Cain scenes with the guy who looks like Big Pussy from Sopranos. It's a lot of the guy that looks like Big Pussy from Sopranos doing goofy things, and Dean Cain doing the "Would you stop that?" or "Would you give me that?" That kind of routine.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of farting. Like that character farts a lot. The big guy farts a lot, so it's a lot of like, oh, big guy farting, and he's got like the thick New York accent, so he's like, I hate dogs. Get the dogs away from me. I don't want the dogs.
Yeah, wow.
And so you watched numerous of these movies. And you got to one where you just couldn't take it anymore.
Right. So we did the very first one was the Dog Who Saved Christmas. So we watched the Halloween one first, then we discovered while watching the Halloween one that there's a series of them. And apparently this first one, the Dog Who Saved Christmas, we looked it up online. It was the most viewed cable movie of that year. It was on ABC Family, which I think we kind of know from the DTV world that if there's anything that's like even marginally successful, you get 5 movies out of it. It's like, and so that's what's happening here with these.
Well, did you watch The Dog Who Saved Christmas Vacation, or did you
Yes, we watched that one too. So that was the second one. So that one has Casper Van Dien in it, which my wife got a kick out of the fact that Casper Van Dien has interacted with some of our social media posts. So
Same.
Yeah, and so he was in it.
I don't mean to interrupt, but when you're finished, I have something to say.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, yeah. So then after that, it's The Dog Who Saved the Christmas. Oh, so I think maybe the next one's the Halloween one, and then it's The Dog Who Saved the Christmas Holidays, which has Shelley Long and Stephen Gross in it.
But not Michael Gross.
Michael Gross, yeah. Stephen Keaton, played by Michael Gross. That's what I'm.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm getting.
Family ties. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I'm mixing them up there. But so they're in it, and then the one we stopped on was the Easter one, because the Easter one is hilarious because they I think they like ABC Family or whoever was forcing them to get another one of these Dog Who Saved the whatever out. So it doesn't have the poor man's Kevin James, the Gary Valentine character in it. The guy who played the wife was Elisa Donovan from Clueless. She's in it at the very beginning, and she drops the dog off at like a doggy daycare thing that's run by a girl who was on Seventh Heaven. And then Dean Cain's character is kind of replaced by Patrick Muldoon. And then Dean Cain just sits
all
like
your favorite people.
I know, like, can this be the best series of all time?
It's
Dean and Muldoon.
Yeah, it's like
the one you mentioned doesn't it have Lance Henriksen? The one who I just looked at.
The Halloween one had Lance Henriksen as the baddie, yes. As like the Burbs character. But
okay.
Of course it's all a big misunderstanding. And what he does is like, the Gary Valentine character, the goofy dad, because they for some reason they just keep bumping into these crooks, the Dean Cain and, wannabe big pussy guy. They just run into them in every movie. And in this one, like, they're on like a work release thing. And they just hire, the Gary Valentine guy hires them to break into Lance Henriksen's house to find out what's going on. And of course, wackiness ensues, right? Because it's like a haunted house, and it's like, oh no, the big guy, what's he gonna do? Oh, it's it's like kind of Three Stooges stuff with like the coat of, the suit of armor attacking him and stuff like that. So.
See, I see what they're doing here, because I was looking at the cast just now. So you get, the Blossom team up, and then you get this Dog Who Saved Easter has Beverly Mitchell. Is that the one you're talking about?
Right. Yes.
And then
Right.
Catherine Hicks from Seventh Heaven. So you get these,
Yeah.
you get these like,
yeah,
reunions.
Right. It's interesting. They do it with a few of them. Like, Shelley Long and Michael Gross. I guess they weren't on a show together, but it's like, 80s sitcom rivals.
I'm surprised they didn't get Ratzenberger. That'd be like Cheers.
Just like, maybe they tried and they couldn't.
Yeah.
Because that seems to be a lot of what's happening with these movies too, is that they want somebody but they can't get them, so they say. Because again, the fact they go from Mario Lopez to Joey Lawrence then back to Mario Lopez, it's kind of like, which one of those two has to be available at some point when they're making these movies. So just which of the two is there for us to use in the movie.
No, Brett, you were about to say something?
Oh, I wanted to mention the Severin thing.
Yes, go ahead.
So, in December, Severin, that great company, is releasing 3 Bruno Mattei action movies.
Oh, nice.
And I think you're going to like this, that on one of them, they use a quote from you, and on the other, they use a quote from us.
I remember Strike Commando 2 is the one they used the quote from you. Is that the one, or do they have another one?
There's another one.
Oh, there's another one. Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So they used our quote on their upcoming Blu-ray of Cop Game.
Nice.
Yep.
So,
that's awesome.
Everyone could go out and buy that. And then, Ty, what's the one where they use the DTV kind of circle?
Oh, was it Born to Fight?
Yeah, I think it might be. So
I don't know if I reviewed that one. So Bruno Mattei?
Yeah.
I did Cruel Jaws by him.
Because they definitely used your quote on.
Definitely used your quote.
Blu-ray.
So that's pretty cool that they use those.
I know.
Shows that we're making. What's that?
So I want to make sure I mention that, so you and I guess the audience is aware of that. So everyone go out and get these upcoming Bruno Mattei things.
I will.
That is awesome. So Cop Game, I'm trying to think. Cop Game, I think that was the one that I wanted to watch. It's not. I think
it's hard to find.
Yeah. I think I've been trying to track that one down.
Yeah, there's a cheap DVD that you might be able to find. I don't know if it's on any of the streaming services, but Video 7, which is the video store we used to go to, they had it.
Yeah.
So
that's how we watched it. It was it delivered the goods and millions of spades. So just like
Yeah, that was been a bit of a white whale for me. I've always wanted to catch it, and I just have not been able to.
You're going to enjoy it.
Well, now you're going to be able to very easily.
Yeah. That's one of the cool things that these companies are putting these movies out. So it does make it easier. So I mean, obviously it doesn't help with the situation with my wife and I were in because I don't know how much she would enjoy these movies, but definitely helps for me when I'm trying to find something to watch.
Oh yeah, no, it's going to be readily available starting in December.
Nice.
So wait, which one was it then? It wasn't hard to fight.
They're doing Cop Game.
Yeah.
Or the other two. Hold on, I can look this up.
Double Target. It was Double Target.
Oh, Double Target. Was that okay?
Yeah.
I think I reviewed that one, haven't I?
You did, yes.
I did. Okay.
So I think that's got to be the one then.
Yeah, that's the one that
has Miles O'Keefe.
Yes.
So the upcoming Blu-ray of Double Target has your quote.
Okay.
That's pretty cool. And that's pretty nice of them. That means they obviously go and look at the review.
Yeah.
So but see, that's what's good about doing kind of niche stuff. Like if they want to quote, they pretty much have to go to us. Because no one else is talking about these movies. So that's a good thing.
So they're not listing my review of Double Target on IMDb. I wonder if I did review it or not.
They took it from somewhere. So
I have to look up Miles O'Keefe and see, because that'll tell me. Because I don't have Miles O'Keefe on my site. I've got like maybe feet or inches of Keefe. I need to get more.
Wait, you said Miles O'Keefe feet? Is that what people look up when they find?
I think that was a distance joke, right?
Yeah. Do you remember MST3K when they were watching Ator? Oh, I did do Double Target. Yes, it just for some reason wasn't showing up on IMDb. I said this is pretty fantastic. Take everything you think of with Bruno Mattei directed non-exploitation flick star Reb Brown, only to replace Reb Brown with Miles O'Keefe. Yeah. I wonder if I made the Miles O'Keefe joke, because I tend to make it in a lot of my reviews. Like, I wanted Miles O'Keefe in this, but now I've only got, feet O'Keefe or, inches O'Keefe.
Right. Well, you'll, off the air, you could check it out if you look up. If you go
it's
definitely
first paragraph. First paragraph right away. I'd say, our blog has, we're working on the point where we can say our blog has Miles O'Keefe, but at this point I'd say we're still at feet O'Keefe or maybe yards O'Keefe.
Yeah. I guess you could talk about our subject.
Are you here to talk about Busey?
Yeah. So
we're not.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting, as we've been kind of going through our different lists of names and everything, that Busey came up, and I think, a Gary Busey list episode has kind of been overdue, but I think, Ty and I were talking about this, that this list was probably trickier than we were expecting.
Oh, it sure was. I had a lot of trouble saying this up, but then I realized, let me just go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, he's a DTV mainstay. He's been in the DTV world for decades. You'd think it would be easier, but from what I'm told, it's not.
It's not that. It wasn't that easy, but then I kind of just really did a better dive of his filmography. Okay, I got 5. Not a problem.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Yeah, and I was able to come up with a 5 too. And one of the things I was going through as I was looking through my list of reviews on Busey films is talking about the abusive scale, which is what I would use, because the abusive scale, I was using it in the early days of the site, and I still use it as a way, because Busey's always, a lot of times he's not in a movie for that much. And so it's like, well, how much Gary Busey do you get in a film when his name's on the cover? That's how I determine my abusive scale. But one of the interesting things is I was trying to think of where the term abusive came up to describe, Gary Busey movies. And I almost think that the term was originally coined for Jake Busey with one of my friends. Which is just crazy. If you remember that time in the late 90s, early 2000s when he was in more stuff, like he had the Shasta McNasty TV show.
Did you read my mind?
That, I was going
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I want to say there were some movies that he did where he was just obnoxious, where my buddy was like, God, this is just so abusive or something like that because of the Jake Busey. And then I just took the term and used it to describe how much Gary Busey was in a movie. But I almost think that was the genesis of the term.
Makes sense.
So I guess, go ahead.
So Matt, what's your number 5?
Yeah, or do you want to start?
Okay.
You want me to do 5? Okay, I have number 5 is Hider in the House.
Oh.
That's one I haven't seen before.
Oh, it's really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you picked that. See, I thought you were gonna stick strictly to more the DTV action type stuff. So I'm glad you picked that.
No, I did that because I thought, wait a second, let me start with like a really good one, then get to the silly.
just like.
Oh yeah, Hider in the House is a winner. Again, it's hard to find. Yeah. It was a movie I was looking for a long time.
And I got it from Video 7.
Yeah.
And
it's, how do you describe it? It's kind of, I don't know if you call it a stalker movie necessarily.
Well, it's a thriller. Well, the cover's scary. Gary Busey looking through Mimi Rogers' window. It's like,
right. It says you can't lock him out. He's already in.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much we're going to talk about here, but Gary Busey is almost like a well-meaning vagrant who lives in their house and weird things start to happen. But is he really the bad guy? It's what's really going on. But it's directed very well. It's a great movie. You would have gotten it off the video store shelf in the 90s, and it kind of delivers those goods. And I would recommend the movie.
Because I think Hand that Rocks the Cradle was very popular at the same time frame.
Sure. I'm going to say Never Talk to Strangers.
Sort
of like these domestic thrillers.
Yeah, Tied Up Binds.
Tied Up Binds, yeah, that's another. Yeah, and a ton of DTV ones, probably Lifetime movies. But this is definitely up there with the best, I would say.
Yeah, this looks fantastic. I mean, looking at the names in here, you've got Michael McKean. Carole King plays Tom's mother's voice. So I don't even. Oh, it's also got a Jake Busey as a teenage Gary Busey.
Yeah, it's a winner. I would definitely check it out when you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks very abusive.
Yeah. Oh, it is.
Wow. It's nonstop.
It's nonstop Busey.
Yeah.
But this is really like before he went really, really crazy. There's that period where he was maybe always a bit eccentric. And then certain things happened and he kind of like went crazy. This is before that, so I think he really kind of cares a bit more. And actually is seen a couple times as almost like a viable love interest in the movie. So
there's some good surprises.
He wasn't seen as some sort of, out there crazy man thing. It was more subdued.
Right. And then how about your number 5, Matt?
So my number 5 is Eye of the Tiger.
Good choice.
Busey as the main action lead. In the review that I did of it, I kind of questioned, like, is it possible for a movie to be too abusive, right? Like, is the abusive scale maybe more like a kind of a thing where it's like, some of the settings on your TV where like 0 is the best, and then, you want to keep like a good equilibrium. And, I still don't know for sure if, but the movie, I think the fact that he was the star of it, that kind of, to me, made it really interesting in the Busey canon. Yeah,
because a lot of times he was someone in the background. But he did get some starring roles, and I'm sure those are going to come up. But and that is one, and that's another one that's kind of a standby on cable and in video stores.
I've seen it. I have to rewatch it. I mean, I just haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, the Survivor song is not in the movie.
No,
I don't think so.
No,
but that song was so hot. And there's no copyright on the phrase "Eye of the Tiger," so I guess they figured, it was on people's minds at the time, and they just kind of gave it that. But if you're going to that movie expecting the song, I think you're going to be disappointed.
Well, you have to watch Rocky IV.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and also I don't want to give away for people who haven't seen it, but this film has maybe one of the greatest scenes of cinematic irony that I can remember. And it involves a stick of dynamite lubed up with Vaseline and shoved in a baddie biker's buttocks when Gary Busey tried to get him to talk. Again, I don't want to go any further than that because I don't want to give the movie away for people who haven't seen it. But for me it was.
If that doesn't tantalize you,
exactly.
Well.
Exactly. I mean, it's essentially Walking Tall, only if you just get rid of Joe Don Baker and you put Gary Busey in it, which to me, I do think Gary Busey's an upgrade over Joe Don Baker.
Yeah, so it's more like Walking Crazy.
Right, exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right. Well, what do you have for number 4?
South Beach.
Oh.
Nice. So this one didn't make my list, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure it could have.
Yeah.
Because it has that funny line by Gary Busey, like, okay, like, shut up, turn up head. It's like, get through.
I think this is around the time when they kind of more let him loose.
Yeah.
He was going crazier and you almost couldn't rein him in, so they probably just figured, let's just let him say whatever wacky stuff comes out of his mouth, and we'll keep it. We'll keep it in the movie.
Yeah.
And this has that feel.
That's what's so good about this one. It's not a perfect movie, but go ahead.
No, not by any means. But the abusive factor is significant.
I'd say a 7, maybe a 6 or 7 on this one.
Yeah.
I mean, if Gary Busey angrily calls you a turnip head, I believe that's worthy of attention right there.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, this is one of those classic Williamson movies where the movie itself has a lot of flaws, but he just gets together such a great cast that the cast elevates it beyond the flaws.
That is very well said. That's exactly what happens here.
It's absolutely perfect description.
Yeah. And I mean, the names are just prodigious because it's like you've got Peter Fonda, Robert Forster, Vanity, Sam Jones. I forgot that Sam Jones was in this. I was looking about IMDb. I forgot about Sam Jones.
Well, isn't Fred Williamson's name like Mac Derringer?
yes, exactly.
So it's not one of his classic characters. It's a different,
No, but that's a great name.
It is. It's a great name.
Yes. But was he because when did this come out? It came out in 93. I was going to say, no, he hadn't done a Dak movie yet, had he, in 93?
I don't think so.
No, I think the first one was the one with Rothrock, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then before that, he had it was Jesse Crowder. Is that his other name?
Yes, he had Jesse Crowder, and then he had Dakota Smith.
Right.
And then
I think this was right before Dak was on Dak because then he kind of ruled the later 90s, 2000s.
Yeah, with Down and Dirty.
Yeah.
And the movie that's really hard to find, which is The Rage Within.
Yeah.
So it's like,
that's on our rare movie list. That's a white note for us.
Yeah.
I would like to see that. Just to see, Dak one more time,
Yeah.
It's on YouTube. I don't care.
Just to see it.
It's not available anywhere right now.
I don't think so,
no. Because I don't even know, because it's weird, right? Because it technically came out before On the Edge, which may or may not be coming up in this podcast, but The Rage Within, it's like, there's some of these ones, there's just no proof that they were ever even released, but, I mean, I guess if they've got one user review and no critic reviews, which a lot of times that tells me if there's no, critic reviews that, I don't know, there's one person that says they watched it, but usually there's at least one critic review if a movie made it somehow.
I'll keep an eye out, again, I haven't checked in lately, so maybe I'll just take another look around the net.
We could sweep through our rare movie list and see if
sounds good.
Yeah, see if it comes up.
Here's someone's in trouble. Is that you? Or?
Do you hear the sirens there? Yeah, that's
I can hear sirens.
Good old Philadelphia. Yeah. And I was talking to my nephew who lives in Maine in kind of a more rural area. My brother and sister-in-law and their kids live there, probably I don't know, 45 minutes away from Portland. And so I was talking with him on the phone, and the siren was going by, and he's like, "What's that? What's that?" And I got over here because it was a FaceTime call. I could hear my sister-in-law telling him your Uncle Matt lives in the city. There's stuff going on.
Did you want to run up the Philadelphia steps though? For speaking of Stallone from earlier, did you want it? Can you do that? Are you close to the steps?
Oh yeah, I've walked them. I haven't done.
You walked the steps. You haven't run up the steps.
Yeah, one of the funny things about it is so the the museum, right? It's kind of has its kind of bougie museum sponsors, and there's a Rocky statue, right, where he's got his arms lifted in the air.
Yeah, sure, very
true. And they put it at the top of the steps, and I guess the bougie museum people didn't like that there with the museum stuff. Yeah. So now it's down below on the ground, and so
I'm surprised Stallone didn't get in the middle of that. He's always tough on that stuff.
It's supposed to be a top of the step. But it makes sense it's on the top. It makes sense that it'd be on the top because that symbolizes his achievement. You made it to the top. Why would it be at the bottom?
Because the people that run the museum didn't they thought it diminished what the museum was going for. So it's on the ground.
Sly is a blue collar dude, or Rocky's a blue collar dude. He has to be in the blue. So blue collar on the bottom.
Right, exactly, yeah. And so what makes it difficult then is it's there's always this big long line of people trying to get pictures of it. So what I've done, I think I do have a picture of it somewhere, but I kind of just I've snuck over there and just sort of zoomed my camera in and just made sure I get all the nobody's head in the picture when I'm sneaking it in there. But I mean, getting up on the steps, you get a nice view of the city, so it is good. But the statue's not there, so they're two separate things. I have yet to do the museum. I think actually today, now that we're doing this this recording on the first Sunday of the month of October, I think first Sunday of the month is pay what you want. Which when I looked at the website, it's pay what you want, so you can just pay any number, but they kind of suggest $20 still. So it's like, if I go in there and give them $5, they're going to look at me funny, I think. So
this
it's like,
that's funny. This sounds like the thing on The Simpsons, Do What You Feel Like festival.
right.
I was going to say, there's another thing on The Simpsons where they go to a museum and they have a thing that says "Pay what you feel" or something. That's
Right.
an episode.
Yeah.
What happens? Homer gives some non-existent amount of money. I don't remember right now.
That I don't remember. I remember
Simpsons has a joke about that.
Right. It's weird, like, that they would put that. Like, why put that? You know, just say
because they're inviting people to pay less because they want people in the museum. So why would you glower at people? That's the thing I don't like. Either don't have it or don't have the attitude.
Right, and maybe they don't. Maybe they don't have the attitude. It's just, you get the sense that you're going to get the attitude if they're telling you the suggested donation is $20.
And I totally picture all the people who put the Rocky statue down below all have monocles.
Yes.
And it's like every single one.
And if they're sponsoring it with their big bucks, why should you have to pay it all? Shouldn't it be free? I mean, they're sponsoring it. So. Well,
that's true too. That I definitely agree with that too. Like I said, I haven't made the trip there yet. I've been living here for 8 years, and so I mean,
get there.
Yeah, like that area was used in Shazam. I don't know if you saw Shazam.
No.
So he was like zapping things. He was like shooting lightning from his hands and singing the Eye of the Tiger song to the tune of saying,
Eye of the Tiger.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
And he ends up accidentally zapping the overpass that goes kind of up to some of the northern suburbs or northwestern suburbs. And the bus that falls down is the number 9 bus, and I've taken that number 9 bus up there sometimes. There's a really good cheesesteak place. Probably the best cheesesteak place in the city is this place called Dalsandro's in the Roxborough area. And the number 9 bus takes you up there. He had to save the number 9 bus.
Now, is that the same museum that's in, is it Dress to Kill, Brian De Palma? There's a famous museum.
I remember that scene. Was that the same one?
It could be.
It might be. I don't want to say the wrong thing in case there's people like shouting at their
Exactly.
How dare that Brett guy say the wrong museum?
It might be a different Philadelphia museum, though. But anyway, I just off the top of your head, I guess.
Yeah. I was trying to see where. Oh yeah, no, Philadelphia Museum of Art. Yeah, filming location. Yeah, it's listed.
Good. I'm vindicated. Take that.
Yeah.
We're not mad at me.
We're not mad. They're great people.
You know, they're a different AIP too that produced the movie. It was the remember there was an AIP before the AIP that we know.
Oh sure, yeah, it was American International Pictures. Right,
so they produced that Dress to Kill.
Oh.
Yeah.
I forget now. Your number. Did you do number 4?
No, so I haven't gotten to my number 4 yet. So I think my number 4 is going to be a bit of a shocker.
Okay, I'm ready.
My number 4 is Warriors.
That is a shocker.
That is a shocker.
So
I'm shocked.
Why? Here's why I picked Warriors. I'll kind of give the explanation.
Sure.
The movie itself isn't good, right?
No.
But it's got a high level.
Far.
Yeah, it's got a high level of Busey and Pare in it, and I loved seeing them together in the movie so much. I was like, I could watch 90 minutes of them running errands, and maybe 90 minutes of them running errands would be a better movie than Warriors. But that's why I enjoyed the movie.
You know what? You make a pretty good point.
I get your reasoning, but just playing devil's advocate here.
Yes.
If you get Pare and Busey, isn't it incumbent upon the filmmakers to give them better material?
Yes, I agree. As we've been talking about it, I'm wondering if maybe I should have replaced this with another movie that is going to be
I get what you're saying.
I get what you're saying, but on the other hand, and this is like is it called Killing Season, the one with Travolta and De Niro?
Oh, Killing Season, Travolta and De Niro.
Yeah.
Same thing. You think, okay, we got Travolta, we got De Niro. Okay, and they're like wiping their hands together. Okay, that's it.
That's it.
No, you have to do something better with these people.
Exactly. If that movie, Killing Season, came out in 1995, it would be huge. It'd be like the biggest release of the 90s. But, 2000.
Those two dudes are DTV.
Yeah.
And the movie's not great. It had such good potential, too.
Such good potential. Same thing with Warriors. I think, Ty, when we watch Warriors, I think you were hyped up for like...
it's going to be good.
It's going to be good. I mean,
I remember buying it.
Experience with Pare and Busey, maybe we should have checked our expectations a bit. But we said, okay, here's the one. This is the one.
This is it.
The box has the giant Busey and Pare faces. They just can't lose.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they did.
Yeah.
But we might talk about this more on our. This is going to be a crossover episode.
This is a crossover episode, exactly.
Right.
Because on our show, we're going to be doing
Coming up.
Michael Pare episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Pare
think
for the
of it
course.
as like a Pare for the course. So tune into that on our show. So think of this as like a Flintstones meet the Jetsons kind of deal where we're crossing over our podcast. So I think this is the perfect point, to do that.
Yeah.
So the Jetsons went back in time to see the Flintstones? I don't remember the plot.
I think I last saw it when I was like,
yes.
7 years old. But I believe there's a bit of back and forth. I think Jetsons went back and Flintstones went forward. I think you got a bit of both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Bonnie. I'm in. That's all I got.
The impressions just keep on.
Well, I don't usually get to do my Fred Flintstone. It's just like.
Yeah, well, so the thing about Hanna-Barbera, I think, for people in the modern, like, because, like, we were talking about how TV shows, right, in the past, how, like, they were completely different from what they are now. Yeah. I think understanding how Hanna-Barbera made things for the modern TV watcher who's, like, just so invested and they care about, like, the canon and the character developments and all of these things. I remember, because Mindy Kaling was putting out a new version of Scooby-Doo that's based on Velma. And I guess she was going to be, Southeast Asian descent and maybe even a lesbian. And people were like freaking out about it. And they're like, well, where in the canon does it say that? And it's like, Hanna-Barbera had no canon. Hanna-Barbera could just as easily have had Velma be from Indiana or be from the planet Velmastan, where she was coming to Earth to help solve the mystery gang solve mysteries. And I think Jetsons Meet Flintstones, I think, is kind of embodying that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm getting tired of that kind of thing. Canon. Like, okay, it's just a show or a movie. It's like, oh, it's not canon. It's like, oh my goodness.
I think the people that are obsessed with canon wore out their welcome when they declared that the Ewok movies are not Star Wars canon.
Yeah, see, that's the wrong, exactly.
Okay, I'm done.
I'm done.
I can't take this anymore.
If Wilford Brimley
isn't part of the Star Wars universe, whatever.
Yeah, I'm done. He's an honorary Jedi. See ya. Okay.
I forgot.
Exactly. So
is that movie on Disney Plus? Oh, I didn't even think about
that. There might not be because they don't consider it canon.
Yeah, I didn't even think because you can't search because I saw somebody posted this really funny thing on Twitter recently where they were showing how Disney, the Disney Corporation owns the Predator, and so they were saying how Disney owns the rights to the Predator and the Ewoks. Like, that's the movie that they need to make, which would be the most amazing thing ever, wouldn't it? Like, Ewoks having to fight the Predator.
And it's done in a very serious manner with Wilford Brimley.
Right,
the most serious you can make it.
Stuff. Like Prey, which is a movie I watched. Which is on
I haven't seen it yet.
I've been meaning to.
It's definitely worth watching. I have a couple little, almost insignificant quibbles with it, but overall it's really good and worth watching. But, because the Predator can go to different planets, right? He could easily go to Endor. Yeah. And then they would have to use their resources to fight him. I mean, I can see that. Isn't that just as plausible as him coming to Earth?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it would be perfect. And so it is saying that it is on Disney Plus, but I think that. Just landing there and just like the Predator just like dealing with all those traps and stuff like that like Han Solo, like can you imagine the Predator on like the big stick with his his hands and feet tied to it and they're carrying him to like the main Ewok? I mean, that would be hilarious if he's like thrashing around with his dreadlocks and stuff.
Right, and it shows that the Ewoks have resources. I mean, like if a teenage girl in like 1653 can fight the Predator, surely Ewoks could.
Well, yes. That's an amazing segue or just kind of connection because Predator 2 has our buddy Gary Busey.
Yes,
so he could and Dan Glover.
On my list. If I was going to make my own list of Busey, that would be on it. I think Predator 2 is really underrated, and really good.
Predator 2 is one of my honorable mentions, and I do have kind of a funny story about my buddy and I coming up with a Predator versus Batman movie that we came up with. Maybe I don't know if I should save it for when we talk Predator 2. I don't know if Predator 2 made either.
Predator 2's not on my list.
Okay.
So PVB.
Yeah, it should have been my number 4 now that I think about it. Maybe I really reached with Warriors, but cause I love Gary Busey in Predator 2 because he's just like, he sees our heat, and all that kind of stuff.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, but we had this idea because do you remember there was a Batman action figure series that was like historical Batman, like one was like a knight. Yeah, it was like I think one was like a knight in medieval times, one was a cowboy. It was and we were talking about the idea that like okay, there's this line of Batmen, that historically that go through time, and so we were talking about one being like a rich guy who hung out with Teddy Roosevelt doing Teddy Roosevelt's administration, and the idea is that Teddy Roosevelt on a hunting trip encounters a predator, and this Batman fights him. So then in the future, a cybernetic Gary Busey looking through the National Archives finds this mention of a predator. Of course, predators are hard to spot, right? They just show up whenever they want to. So to have a historical record of a predator, this is perfect for this cybernetic Gary Busey to go back in time and sort of, capture this predator so they can study it. And so it's kind of like this three-way fight thing. We never got beyond just the us drunk talking about the movie phase.
I can see it. It's as good a plotline idea as any other.
If you talk about these multiverses that are not, or maybe canon,
right.
You can get the Predator multiverse, right? You get Schwarzenegger, Busey, I know he maybe passed away, Danny Glover, who else? Adrian Brody. Just get everyone from all these Predator movies. Bill Axton, maybe.
The teenage girl from Prey.
Yeah.
Perfect. You get all of them in one movie. Everyone loves multiverses.
Right. Unfortunately, we don't have Wilford Brimley to play Teddy Roosevelt, but, we could find somebody who could be Teddy Roosevelt enough, I think.
Oh, maybe Tom Berenger or Val Kilmer. Because don't they usually play Hal Holbrook or whatever?
I think they play Hal Holbrook. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's perfect. I was thinking Beau Bridges. I think those would be better than that.
Oh, Beau Bridges is good casting, actually.
Yeah.
John Goodman?
Oh, John
Goodman. Oh, he would be a perfect Teddy Roosevelt with a good mustache.
Oh, that'd be great. Beau Bridges is a very underrated actor. He was very good in Max Payne. Do you remember that? Brad, you watched that, right?
I remember.
He had a nice role in that.
Yeah.
But we should go to number...
The Wild Pair.
The Wild Pair. They should have made another series out of that. Wild Pair 2, Wild Pair 3. Get Joe Pesci somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
And, just to put a button on this, I think we'll agree that the only canon that's worthwhile involves Golan and Globus.
Yes. Perfect.
Yes.
That's the ultimate button.
Yes.
All right, so moving on. Where are we here with our piece?
We're at number 3.
Yeah, Ty's at number 3.
And my number 3 it's a mainstream, but it's Point Break.
Nice. Okay, so that's my number 1. So.
Okay. So number 1's not a certain movie. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So I have a feeling maybe we switched our 1 and 3 because I'll be telling my number 3 in a second, but we'll discuss Point Break right now.
Well, how can you not love it? It's like,
it's a classic for the ages. Everyone knows it loves Point Break. What can we possibly add?
You can't.
It's pure entertainment.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for you to say that.
What? It's 100% pure entertainment.
No. Well, I'm waiting for you to say a certain line from Point Break.
Oh, well, my favorite line, maybe is when you talk about that. Back off, war child. Seriously. Anytime I do a movie that has Vincent Quinn in it, I have to put that line in. Back off, war child. Seriously.
Yeah. It's the seriously that makes it perfect.
And that's before people were saying seriously all the time like they do today.
Right.
Seriously? Seriously?
Yeah, this was way before that. This was 1990. People weren't saying seriously as much back then. When I can
tell you all the time. They say it on every show. Every show you can think of, they say, seriously? It's like, well, this guy's coming after seriously?
Right.
It's definitely become a cliche, but maybe it's because of Point Break, if you think
it.
about it. They were there at the outset.
Another Point Break thing, I had to be out in San Francisco for a work thing recently, and it was this company called Salesforce that's like this big company that does like, I don't know.
Yeah, I've heard of Salesforce.
Yeah. So they have this big party thing called Dreamforce, and the band performing was Red Hot Chili Peppers. And I didn't even realize as I was watching it, because I kind of cut out a little bit early because I was going to see a Oakland A's baseball game.
Oh, they got the Peppers to be there? It's pretty good.
They did, yeah. And I didn't realize I was watching, a connection to Point Break, one of my favorite movies. That I kind of, for some reason I slipped that part. I did remember.
You might say you shot yourself in the foot.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. The funny thing is, when I saw Flea up there, I thought, the Bust a Move video with the stuffed animal pants, from the Animal Crane, toy thing. Yes, I recognized that, but I didn't think Point Break, which is crazy. I guess if Tom Sizemore had been performing, I would have tied it all together.
Does he perform?
Does he perform? Well, I mean, you have a better chance of getting Keanu and Dogstar. I'm like talking about like a band. You know?
Yeah. Speaking of the Sizemore thing, so in the early 2000s, when I was in my apartment watching Point Break, it was kind of one of those deals. It was kind of like a lazy Saturday deal where I wasn't really doing much. And I saw that scene where Sizemore pours the beer on his cereal, and I had some Budweiser in the fridge. I was like, why don't I just try that? And it was the most disgusting thing ever. I was like, why did I do that? Like,
you did it. No, that's the thing. You could say it's one of those life experiences. You did it.
Yes.
Well, I tried to, I tried to cut pizza with scissors like Cobra, but it was all messy afterwards. Right. I think it has to be cold.
Does it be cold? Is that to be cold or is that?
No, I did a hot pizza by
see, there's your problem. See,
I
Cobra doesn't. He probably had that pizza in his fridge for like weeks.
Yeah. He was just working too hard, trying to make a living.
I used to see Stallone like in that scene, the guy wants him to cut the pizza like, hey, give me a hobby.
No, what was that in Stallone?
It was like, it can't be a hot pizza, it's gotta be a cold pizza. What do you mean you want me to cut a hot pizza? I gotta cut a cold.
You have to translate from Stallone to English.
He said Rosetta Stallone. I was like, Stallone. You said that, Brett. That was a good one.
I did?
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah. I don't remember saying that, but sure, I'll take credit for that. Sure.
Point Break would probably be on a lot of lists for the people that are in the movie, right? Like, Keanu list, Swayze list, Catherine Bigelow list, Sizemore.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a great
movie.
Yeah, because I think one of your beefs with that completely unnecessary and irrelevant remake is that they didn't use the Rat song.
Can we just play the Rat song? Nobody rides for free. It's and as I already said this a bunch of times, Ray, but probably Ebert watched Point Break the original and rocked out to it at the end of the credits. And it's like popcorn was all over the place. Popcorn was in his white hair. It was great.
His hair was like disheveled because he was headbanging.
He was headbanging too hard to Rat song
in a movie theater, probably with no one else around. It's just him doing it.
Yeah, because everyone left. Everyone leaves after the credits. But it's like, wait, this is Rat. He said. Probably.
Oh yeah. He's sitting under the guise of I'm the critic and I have to watch the whole thing, but the real reason was
Right. But I need to know who the best boy Grip is.
Yeah. Right, exactly. He's like saying nobody rides for free. You gotta pay to play. It's like
when you think back, it was 1990. You're watching Point Break in the theater. Rat is blasting out of the speakers. Does life get any better?
No,
life sucks now compared to that. We don't have anything like that anymore.
No, we don't. We really don't. It's like you kick back and you just watch Point Break. I am an FBI agent. It's like
it is one of the many movies where Keanu Reeves shouts his job.
Yeah. Right.
Which he does in numerous movies.
I am a Matrix, but it's like he doesn't say that. But
in The Devil's Advocate, he says, "I'm a lawyer."
Yeah, I'm a lawyer. I win. Don't all right. They're all different practice. Kevin, there it is. I'll do that. That's all I'll do.
So we can't forget that that's a Keanu Reeves shouting his job title. Then there's that scene where they're playing football on the beach. That's like a better version of that infamous scene in Top Gun where they're playing football.
Yes. Yeah, without the song, right? Without the Kenny Loggins music.
Right. I don't know if there is a song. I think it's just them.
No, it's just like it's probably like.
I want to rewatch Point Break.
It's so good. Yeah, I watch it every couple of years because it's just
nice.
so.
It's a fine wine. It gets better with it.
And you talk about the remake. Technically the remake was Fast and the Furious, right? That was the remake of Point Break. And
so you saw it? You saw that remake?
No, I didn't see the point.
He means the original original Fast and Furious with Paul Walker.
I thought you meant the remake of Point Break.
Right, no, I was saying I didn't bother watching that remake of Point Break because, I felt like that first Fast and the Furious movie was a remake of Point Break. And I remember the movie had kind of died out so soon after, it was kind of, big in the early 90s and it had kind of fallen off so much that I remember when I was in college, there were some freshmen that were watching Point Break and I was like, oh, this movie's they were watching Fast and Furious and I was like, this movie's ripping off Point Break. And they're like, what's Point Break?
Which point? I can't even listen to that without cringing.
And that's the thing too, is that I think Point Break is because Catherine Bigelow made it, it's not the bro-y movie that it feels like it is on the surface. It's almost kind of more like these characters are more flawed. They're more, Bodhi.
More to it.
Yeah, he's kind of full of it.
More to it.
Yeah, and it's like almost like Fast and the Furious. It was like they kind of made it the bro-y movie that people thought Point Break was, to kind of just sort of almost right that wrong. So now it's like big tuned out cars and guys punching each other and drinking Coronas and, big tattoos and, like Vin Diesel, like live my life a quarter mile at a time, that kind of thing.
No, you don't. Actually, he's like 65 years old on a skateboard in Triple X3, whatever it is. So it's just like 65. He was like Hans Moleman as Bart Simpson. That's what it was.
So that good points made by both of you. But I do want to ask, it doesn't exist anymore, but have you been to the Point Break themed restaurant in New York City?
No, I didn't even know it was there.
No,
it's gone.
That's kind of the ultimate point, is that how many movies get their own restaurant?
Yeah.
And in New York City, where the rent is not cheap,
they
must have had it, at least for a while, enough to sustain it. But it was called Point Break NYC.
Yeah.
I wonder if Keanu, went there for, for some steak fries, something like that. It's like,
there's a Twitter account
that did exist. So it was all themed around Point Break. There's Point Break pictures and maybe memorabilia on the wall, and So sadly, it doesn't exist anymore, but it did.
But we'll go to your number 3.
Yeah. One quick thing I wanted to mention too about Point Break is
go ahead.
There's a Twitter account called No Point Break. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Okay, no.
What it
no
is,
Break.
I don't know if it's a bot. I don't know how it works, but the Twitter account posts the picture from Point Break like every 5 or 6 hours or so, just a screen grab of the movie.
Okay.
And some of them are fantastic. Some of them I'll retweet because they're just like really, this really great stuff. Some they're really memorable parts of the movie. Sometimes it's just like, okay, that's just another piece in Point Break, and I'll just give it a like or something. But for people that are Point Break fans, that's something maybe to check out. It's literally called No Point Break.
I will look that up.
So my number 3, this is where I think we might have been switching. My number 3 is Under Siege.
Oh, no, that's not on my list at all.
Oh, it's not on your list at all? Okay.
No.
All right. Okay, this will be interesting when we get to your number 1. So, Under Siege, I think, the tandem of him and Tommy Lee Jones, it's been a long time since I've seen Under Siege. I was called a Point Break, but,
Point Siege.
Point Siege.
But it was like, Under Siege was one of those movies, I think, where, again, it was a Die Hard ripoff, but it was one of those movies that was iconic more for the villains than it was for the heroes, at least for me. It was almost like
that about Casey Ryback.
Right, exactly.
No, but I know exactly what you're saying because they have a lot more pizzazz than
especially Busey in it.
Yeah. It was just a lot of fun, Busey, and so I was like, okay, I think this didn't make my Seagal list, right? I think my Seagal list were essentially like his first 4 movies, and then The Foreigner was one I liked.
Right.
But this is sort of the point, I think, where Seagal does start to fade a little bit, right? This is where he, I think in 5 years he's doing direct-to-video movie with The Patriot.
That's a pretty short window.
Yeah.
Well, I think, if we, the Seagal free-for-all, as we called it. So where we just kind of, did all Seagal, no rules, no limits. I think this kind of came up where you knew it was the beginning of the end because it was a 2-word.
Well, it could have been Under the Siege. If they only called it Under the Siege, that'd be good.
Which is, appropriate to like The Little Mermaid. They could have had a song and
you get the crowd saying Under the Siege.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because he puts out a lot of movies in between then and The Patriot, which comes out in '98. I mean, but they're all kind of the same movie, right? Fire Down Below, Glimmerman. Of course, he does Under Siege. He does a sequel to this, and then he does On Deadly Ground. And I think that was a point where almost like the wave was cresting for Seagal. And Under Siege, it's funny because
nautical theme.
Right, exactly. Yes. But it's funny because it shouldn't have been like Under Siege was such a big movie for him. And I mean, it was right after he did all his big ones that we really like. But it wasn't. It was almost like he was believing his own hype or something. I don't know what it was, but
I rewatched it last year. I mean, it held up a little bit better than I remembered, but I enjoyed it because with Busey, he had Commander Krill.
Yes, right. It's a great name.
Yeah, I loved being named Commander Krill.
Yeah.
That sounds like a street shark.
Yeah, is it? It's like.
What if I read texted me a picture of Street Sharks, the complete series on DVD?
Well, Gary Busey could be a street shark with his interesting teeth. You know, just like.
We have a movie called Steel Sharks, so.
Oh yeah, that's a boring sub movie, right?
Right,
it's,
exactly.
Billy D. Williams. Yeah.
As opposed to Under the Siege, which is a sub movie.
Under the Siege. I'm calling it that from now on. Under the Siege.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't realize Under Siege was the first one that was. And I guess maybe you don't count Executive Decision because he's only in it for a minute, but it's like the first one, and it's actually kind of the only one until The Patriot, right, where he goes into just the 2-word titles.
And if you notice, they immediately went back to 3 words after this because they went, this shouldn't have done that.
No, gotta do On Deadly Ground immediately. What is this then?
Yeah.
Right below.
And the Glimmerman. Yeah.
You gotta have
Glimmerman is somewhat of a return to form. I think the Glimmerman was pretty good.
Yeah. It was good. Even Her Friend on Below was pretty good. And, Under Siege 2 is Under Siege 2, but it's just like...
they were good, I think, from an action movie,
I agree.
fun with them standpoint, but I think the market was starting to sort of get, I don't know, there's something about Under Siege that's an interesting one from a Seagal, because it's like fun for us, like we enjoy it, and we kind of felt like this thing was going to go on forever. And I mean, is it Exit Wounds is the one he does with, DMX, right? And that's kind of like a bounce back for him. And then he just never gets it again after that.
I mean, because that was his last to go to the theater.
Right.
Yeah. And then, or maybe it was Half Past Dead, which I still haven't seen.
Yeah, they tried with Half Past Dead to recapture the magic from Exit Wounds, and it just didn't work.
I didn't see it yet. I mean,
I'm surprised. I thought you'd seen that one.
I think we put it in our bucket, Brett.
Yeah.
So,
the problem is when you're replacing DMX with Ja Rule, it's kind of like the problem that the 2000s had with hip hop anyway, right? Is that we were replacing these big names with not so, and Ja Rule is definitely one of those ones that's like, you're.
I mean, like, what's next is he's going to be in a movie with, Chingy.
Right, exactly, right.
Yeah,
like Silk the Shocker.
Yin Yang Twins. Oh, that's funny. Yin Yang Twins. That'd be great.
Right, yeah.
They should have, all these rappers, like, that kind of had DTV careers, like Mystical and C Murder and all that. Why not the Yin Yang Twins?
Right.
I think they
had a higher profile than them, and there was no limit artists like Silk the Shocker.
Yeah. One thing I forgot about Half Past Dead is it has Stephen J. Cannell in it. So
Does he tear a piece of paper and throw it over his shoulder?
No, I know. I don't remember.
While punching Ja Rule.
That's probably why I don't remember him, because he doesn't do that.
I wouldn't recognize him if he
Okay, look at he has to with a piece of paper.
Right,
He did a great job doing that. That's great acting.
Yeah.
He should have done that on Renegade. A good paper idea, because it had to float the right way to go to Stephen J. Cannell Productions.
Yeah.
So it's like...
It's funny watching the A-Team, because the A-Team's on one of the retro TV channels, so that's on like 6 o'clock at night, so I'll watch that. And it's kind of funny because it's a younger Stephen J. Cannell throwing the paper. And so he's got a little bit more, flair when he does it, I think, in those ones. He never did it for Rockford Files. I don't think those were Stephen J. Cannell productions. I think he just created that character.
Well, if you're talking about James Garner, which we just were with Maverick.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go to my number 2.
Yeah.
Which is The Rage.
Okay.
Yeah.
With Lamas. So that one didn't make my list, but definitely a fun one.
Because, it's good because he's nuts in it. He plays, that serial killer or Dacey, instead of Gacy, Dacey. It's like,
John Wayne Dacey.
John Wayne Dacey.
Like, all right, not the most creativity in the naming department, but, you get the point,
Yeah, this is it doesn't have enough Busey. I'd give it like a 4 on the Busey scale.
Right.
But, I mean, it was still pretty...
Number 2, so why did you make it number 2?
Because it's just a pure fun movie.
Yeah.
It's just, you got Lamas, you got Busey, you got Roy Scheider Fu.
I was going to say, this is the one with Roy Scheider Fu, right?
Yes. Roy Scheider beats up Lorenzo Lamas with kung fu moves. Albeit briefly. He's 85 years old.
Yeah. I mean, the scene is not very long, but what you get is pretty great.
It's like just having that like 10-second scene is just like, okay, this is a masterpiece.
Yeah, that does pretty much make the movie.
Yeah.
That's like one of the only things I remember from the movie.
I think it's so close to like almost being, as we said in our review, theater ready. It's really close.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're really trying for that theater ready feel.
It was the closest I've ever seen for a Lamas movie. Was The Rage.
Yeah, I do think, because it was Sidney J. Fury is the director.
Yeah, he's been in the theater, and you got some good truck chases. You got a good idea of like mine hunters.
Yeah,
and Kristen Cloak as his partner. This is something. I think if it just didn't have Lamas, I mean, I hate to say it, I love Lamas, but I to say I had, I don't know, Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise, Schwarzenegger, even Stallone, I think you just would have been a big hit in the theater.
Yeah, especially at the time for the 90s. And I agree. This is a movie that like didn't admit defeat as far as being a DTV movie. You know what I mean? It thought it was a theater movie.
It thought it was a theater ready movie.
It didn't have that down in the mouth feel that some have. I'm just a DTV movie. No, this aimed for the rap.
This aimed for the theater, and it really got close. I mean, like, wow, this is like theater. It's like,
so that's a good reason for it to be your number two.
Yeah, my favorite part, one of my favorite parts, I mean, there's a few parts. From a Lamas standpoint, my favorite part was when he's like all choked up and like in tears.
Yeah,
talking about the FBI, it's like, fidelity, bravery, integrity. Those words just mean something, and he's like kind of sniffling and all that stuff.
It's funny, you don't really see him, emotional that much.
See, that's why it aimed. That's why it aimed like Lamas.
I mean, especially because he was a member of the CIA and CIA too.
Right, right.
Target Alexa.
Target Alexa.
Right. Which is a great, those are some good ones with Kathleen Kidmont.
Kathleen Kidmont is the new female Schwarzenegger. It's like who's the first female Schwarzenegger? It's like, wait a second.
Cynthia Rothrock, I would think.
Yeah.
My favorite Busey part in the movie, or I think one of my favorites, is when he's got one of these like henchmen or something on his team who like screws something up. When he says to the guy, I wrote it in the blog post, so I have it here. It's like, I'm going to put my foot so far up your ass, you're going to taste my toes. Would you like that? Do you want a taste? And it was like,
that is such a Busey line.
That is very Busey. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Busey came up with that.
Yeah. It's like, do you want a taste? And I just,
that's the Busey bit. Yeah, that had to be Busey.
Yeah. I mean, and then, I mean, well, I don't want to give away the movie, kind of to how he gets vanquished in the film, how Lamas takes him out, but it's fantastic.
If he does win.
Yeah, right. If Lamas doesn't prevail. I mean, there's like all kinds of stuff in this movie that, like you said, you've got the Scheider, part of it. Carradine's in it for 5 minutes. Just like there's David Carradine, just enough to get a tag on the site.
Right. Barely in 5 seconds.
Yeah. I think for both Busey and Lamas fans, this is one of those ones. But I think you're right too, Ty, that like beyond just being a Lamas or Busey movie, I think for that late 90s period that didn't give us that many gems, this is definitely one.
Yeah, I agree with that. That was kind of a fallow period for DTV, and there are some standouts, and this is one.
Yeah.
Now, what is your number two, Matt?
So my number two is On the Edge. So I just, and it's funny because as I was reading it, I thought that I realized maybe this should have made my Williamson list as well. But I loved Busey as the baddie in this. It is the hitman.
I think he does a drive-by, right?
Yeah, he's just
does a drive-by. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
But he's kind of crazy. He's like one of these out of control crazy things.
Right. Yeah, it just kind of like for these Williamson movies that I think when they work beyond just the cast that's in them, and I guess this one just worked beyond the cast that was in it, but the cast of course pushes it over the top for me.
Over the edge.
But yeah, over the edge, exactly right. But yeah, I just I mean the fact that one Busey's in it more, I think that's one of the things with these Williamson movies. I think South Beach is another example of one where Busey's in it more, and that definitely helps. I think. So a lot of times I think Busey's just in the movie to do Williamson a solid, and he's there for like a small part.
Yeah, I mean, Williamson has his kind of like his stock company.
Yeah.
I guess Busey's part of it, and Jim Brown, and people that appear again and again.
Yeah, Bernie Casey, even Carradine.
Yeah, Carradine. Yeah. I mean, it's like Carradine was in, what was it, Down and Dirty, where his only scenes are in the back of a limo.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Like very Mickey Rooney.
Yes, that's Mickey Rooney's best work ever.
Yeah. Well, at least Mickey Rooney had more lines and like the car was technically moving, right? I mean, this was like a parked limo that Carrie just shows up for 2 scenes in the back of a parked limo.
I don't know how much we want to give away, if any, on this movie, but there are definitely 2 standout things that put this above the normal.
Well, I think I know which 2 those
above
are.
the normal Fred.
Right.
One is the presence of the master thespian, Gloria Allred.
Exactly.
I've never seen better acting skills on a lawyer.
How the heck did this come about?
Right.
Fred Williamson is making a direct-to-video movie aimed at the urban audience.
Yeah.
And of all the people in the world, Gloria, how does this happen? Where all of a sudden
someone's got to ask him. Someone's got to ask him. Or her. Why didn't someone ask her during this?
And if he did ask her, why would he ask her?
Yeah.
Did she contact him? Who contacted who?
It had to be Fred and Gloria. Fred calling Gloria. It's like, because someone, Gloria, go ahead.
No, I was going to mention the other thing. We want to talk about Gloria already.
Well, I want to mention one thing about Gloria. She's always on these press conferences and all that stuff. Right. Someone just ask her, like, Gloria, what's up?
Yeah,
how
why
would
nobody ask her? Yeah. So she has 12 acting credits.
Yeah. Go ahead, Brett.
Oh, so you say if I had one chance to talk to Gloria Allred, obviously that's what I would ask her.
Yeah.
I think she would think that's funny, right? It's like, oh,
I
right.
would imagine so, yeah. Yeah, she probably forgot she did it.
Like, she's always at these press conferences.
She's always so, like, serious and...
Yeah. You never see her laugh. You never see her smile. It's just like, she's always so grump.
So her nickname is Superglow, according to IMDb. Do you think that's true, or somebody just put that in there?
Wait, what?
Yeah. So if you go to her IMDb page, right under the trivia section, it says nickname Superglow with no W on the end of glow, just to
Super glue.
Yeah, Superglow. Yeah. How does that work? Like, it's weird, right? Because the O by itself on the end of a word in English can be anything, right? It can be an oo sound, an o sound. We don't really have any rules for that.
There are no rules with Gloria Allred.
No, exactly.
Just justice.
And this movie, the other thing that makes it stand out, I guess, we've probably mentioned this before, so I guess I'll say it. It doesn't say the end at the end. It says gone. So the word gone, exclamation point, is what you will see at the end of the movie. Why, we don't know. There's no explanation. It's just there. It's just gone.
It's gone.
I give them points. I don't get it, but I give them points for originality.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I think, when I was going through my list, I left this one off my, my Williamson list, and I don't know if that necessarily I regret it, but I don't remember if I had, I know you guys had it on your, Williamson list.
I think we did.
Yeah.
I think so.
And I think I realized, after I went back through and looked at it, that I probably should have had it on there as well. So I'm kind of writing that wrong as well, but, I think it was part of the reason why it would be on a Williamson list is Busey's, performance, and I think kind of vice versa. I think Williamson.
That's why it's on there, right? So
let's
see. So that was, 2 was The Rage, and what's your 2?
Yeah, so that was my number 2, is On the Edge.
Oh, On the Edge. Oh, because I have number 1. Okay, so here's my number 1 pick is Bulletproof.
Wow. Okay, so you had Bulletproof. That one didn't make my list. So. I
really thought that was going to be number 1 because of Butthorn.
Yeah.
Trying to give away the lead here.
Sorry.
Butthorn made it an honorable mention for me. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so maybe I should have.
This is during that time that we mentioned earlier when he was slightly less crazy in the 80s and was starring in movies. So this is during that period, the Hider in the House period, when he was top lining the movie. It was his name, so he was like front and center. This is a Gary Busey starred action movie. And once again, he has pioneered new vistas in the English language by calling someone, and I quote, a butthorn. Now, what is a butthorn? We don't know.
No.
Ty, did we rewind that when he first said that?
Yeah, we did. We didn't know what he was saying. Like, what? So I think we laughed, and I think he told Danny Trejo he's a butthorn, and then he started shooting at people. That's all. And then I'm like, okay, that's enough for number 1 list for Gary Busey.
And also, there's that scene where he's in this cylindrical thing, and it's whoa.
Yeah, it's like a cylindrical thing of cheese. Yeah, exactly.
It looks like a giant cheese wheel, and it starts rolling away.
Yeah, that's exactly why it's number 1. And Henry Silva is the evil villain as usual. Was that your cat there?
Yes, so he's
Yeah.
he's not supposed to eat for another like hour and a half.
Okay.
But he always pushes. So
okay.
yeah, we might hear him scratch the door, but
okay.
he's got to kind of just learn to live with it. So
okay.
he was in here
Well,
sleeping when I started the podcast, so he got stuck. He's
okay. We're almost done.
JD the cat.
JD the cat. Yes, he's JD. Yeah, he's this big orange dude who's He's rolling around on the floor trying to scratch underneath the door. So,
okay. Because I thought you named him after the Heather's Christian Slater character.
Yeah, I wonder if the JD from Scrubs was named after that. Because Jen named him after after the character from Scrubs. But he kind of is more like the Christian Slater character for sure.
But yeah, we'll go to go ahead.
The butthorn is definitely it's because the butthorn is also in kind of like after he calls him butthorn. I think that's one of the things with a movie like this is that you can call somebody a butthorn and that might be all that happens. But I think isn't that what happens after? Is that like there's like a shootout and a chase and like Danny Trejo throwing grenades out of an ice cream truck and
he says it again.
Yeah, it's like it there's a certain promise that a movie has to live up to when they use a term like butthorn. And I think the film at least lives up to that butthorn.
You can't just leave it at butthorn. I think that's what you're saying. Right?
Right.
It's almost like the Gary Busey way of saying ready, set, go or something like that. It precipitates some action.
See, this is our deepest conversation ever to date. Just about this one thing. Yeah, forget philosophy.
This is the philosophy of Gary Busey, which I think he would agree with if he were here.
He would have a nickname. It's like
well, because there's that Comedy Central show, I'm with Busey.
I watched that show. He never, the guy who like hosted never mentions his movies. Like it's a fun movie. No, just I'm Gary Busey. I'm a fan. It's like, can you mention Bulletproof?
Yeah.
Can you mention the word butthorn? Come on.
Yeah, please or not. Thanks for that. Goof.
But that's the thing about that. And when Conan O'Brien had was it the Gary Busey or something with like a
clock or something like that.
That's around the time where he became more of a figure of fun.
Yeah.
I actually don't like that. I prefer to remember the times of Hider in the House and Bulletproof, not when he was like basically the.
It's kind of a punchline.
I was going to say the butt of jokes, but
the butthorn of jokes.
I don't like that. But to me, that's not funny. I would prefer to remember his movie career, the good, the bad, and the ugly, especially the good, than have him be the butt of some jokes because of his behavior.
Yeah. You make a great point because, so my number one is going to be Point Break, which we've already talked about.
Yeah, we talked about
Looking at our 10 movies that we've chosen, which, we do have some overlap, none of them really fall into that, like, crazy Busey category. Maybe me having Warriors on there, which, again, I think talking with you guys about your list, I'm realizing, like, maybe I stretch with Warriors because I think Bulletproof,
no, but that's a good connection to our next episode.
Yeah.
I like that you put Warriors on there.
You went out there. You put yourself out there with that. That's good.
Yeah. But, like, Bulletproof, it's like, I kind of had it as an honorable mention, and I think, I think you both make a great point that there was a period where Busey was not just a quick cameo in a film to just be crazy and like I think it was National Lampoon's movie that I reviewed where he's just like some crazy witch doctor because the movie takes place in caveman periods and he's just making goofy faces, which I got a kick out of, but it's not the same as him in Predator 2 saying, he sees our heat, that kind of thing, or getting
something
made
like
fun
that,
of.
like, you don't think of him as a goofball, a joke. Right. You're like, okay, he's silly, but it's still a little bit more grounded for the most part.
Right, yeah, and he was more eccentric, I guess.
Eccentric. That's a good point. Eccentric, not like a complete crazy person.
For sure. I mean, he was never not quirky, as far as I know. But
and he helped elevate Point Break to its classic status, I think.
Yeah,
so, I mean, he's a big help with that.
Yeah, I mean, I love the scene where he's saying he's pitching his theory to Keanu Reeves about it being surf wax. And they look up what the wax compound is used in, and they find out that it's mustache wax as well. And, Keanu's making fun of him about it, like, hey, like, maybe some dude is, like, waxing his mustache, and then he goes and robs some banks. What do you think of that? And, and Busey's like the sane one in that situation, right? He's like this guy that, I mean, yes, he's eccentric in that movie, but he's the one cracking the case, right? That, like, even Keanu can't see what's going on here. that,
he loves the danger with Bodhi,
Right, exactly.
It becomes addictive. Definitely.
Right. Which is exactly what happens in The Fast and the Furious, right? Only it's like some other actor with a mustache who's playing Busey's part saying, "It was Toretto the whole time, Scott Walker. You should have known."
It's Scott Walker, not Paul Walker. It's
right,
Scott
Paul Walker. Yes,
Walker.
Scott Walker. The Scotts and Pauls and like Stevens and Michaels. I just kind of get them all.
Well, there's Scott Conn and Paul Conn.
Yeah. If everybody was just Vin, it would be a lot easier.
That's not his real name, from what I heard.
Right, Vin Walker, Vin Diesel, Vin Busey. Yeah. So Gary Busey, though, of course, you always remember Gary Busey. So it's like, yeah. I think my brain can only handle so much.
With the Scott Conn and Scott Eastwood. Does anyone know the difference? I mean,
I can't tell, and they're both pretty weak. So it's
right.
It's the victims of nepotism, not really.
Yeah, no, I don't know their fathers. It's like
that would be.
Yeah, it's funny nobody has made remember there was a movie that came out that had like all of the brothers in it, and it just had their last names across the top, so it was like, Swayze. Yeah.
Oh.
Was that what it was? It was one of those, it was like a real bad direct-to-video where it was just like, Swayze, Stallone, I can't remember what the other brother was.
Death Ray.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah. And you were seeing like
McQueen, Swayze.
Right. That's right. McQueen
and Norris.
Yes. Those were the four. Yeah. And it's got a picture of is it Don Swayze? Am I right?
Don Swayze, yeah.
Yeah. For some reason I had it in my head that he was Dwayne Swayze. And I think there's like you
really
post.
Mixing up.
Yeah, I think there's post where I refer to him as Dwayne Swayze, in the blog. But yeah, I mean, it's like Don Swayze in particular, because he looks like Splinter from, Ninja Turtles. And so it's like they show these pictures of him and he's like so not Patrick Swayze.
I disagree. It's like, I have what?
Honorable mentions?
No, I do not.
So
that's the list.
Yeah, so mine, I mean, Bulletproof we talked about, Predator 2 we talked about. Another one that's kind of like it's not an honorable mention because the movie was good, because the movie wasn't good, but I just like Busey in it, was Slapshot 2. It's a horrible movie, and I don't know if you've seen it. It's the slap.
Stephen Baldwin.
Stephen Baldwin, right? So it's like it's like the beginning of the movie has like the Hanson brothers out there fighting, and Stephen Baldwin doing the you guys are so wacky kind of thing, and it's like none of that stuff works. But Busey plays this like faith and family kind of character who buys the Chiefs. He creates this like Harlem Globetrotters version of hockey. That like sort of shakes up the hockey world because it's kind of a travesty, which is weird because I don't understand why it's a travesty in hockey, but it's not in basketball. Like, I think you can do all kinds of trick shots in hockey and stuff like that. It could be fun. But yeah, Busey's character is just so great in it. And, recently Tom Brady had a movie coming out and somebody was...
He has a movie?
Yeah, he has a movie coming out. I don't know what it's supposed to be about or anything, but somebody was saying like, it's going to essentially be, Ed, right? With, Matthew LeBlanc and the Chimp. Yeah, and then Slapshot 2. And so I replied to the person who posted. It was like some radio personality in Boston. I replied to the post and I was like, if Tom Brady makes a movie that has a chimp and Gary Busey in it, I'm definitely watching it. So I have a hunch it's not going to have either, but if it just had Gary Busey, that might be enough to get me in the door.
Well, I mean, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying, as a big hockey fan, I kind of liked Busey being in a hockey movie, but the movie itself is just atrocious.
Yeah. I'll keep skipping it.
Yeah.
Brett, any more final thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys so you had no honorable mentions, so you're
no, just the list. It was hard enough to make the list.
Yeah, I think the final thought might be where we were talking about his older movies and sort of the pre-crazy thing.
Yeah, I think that's what we should remember.
Yes, I agree.
Did you want to say anything about Latin Dragon?
Oh, well, yeah, Latin Dragon. Yeah, Lorenzo Lamas gave DC and a guy that kind of looks like a Latino version of Ray Romano. Check that out. It's goofy fun.
That has the distinction of being my first Busey post on the site, actually.
That's the first one I ever rented a Netflix disc, so we haven't.
Wow, so a lot of milestones there.
Yeah, great milestones for Latin Dragon. It's like
for the movie that it was.
Ray Romano doing Kung Fu with
Raymond Romano. Yeah, I'll do these.
And because we were talking about those no limit actors like the Shocker and everything.
Yeah, who would Ray Romano be? Go ahead.
Well, no, I was going to talk about Hot Boys.
Oh, Hot Boys. Oh, yes, you forgot that Gary Busey's in Hot Boys.
Yes.
Or Gang Law, to say in the UK.
Which makes a lot more sense because they probably saw that. Wait, this one's called Hot Boys?
Wait a second.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, that doesn't seem right.
I never thought of that before. Like, they're probably like seeing that on the shelf and imagining like Right Said Fred, I'm Too Sexy playing in the opening.
Like, Gang Law is a better title, probably. Well, Hot Boys was like a rapping thing, so it's like.
With Chase on the Case, you've got your Lethal Tender.
That's true. Yeah, it's Jeff Fahey and Gary Busey. It's Die Hard in a water plant.
Yes. Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that one wasn't bad. It kind of meandered a bit, I think, but overall it wasn't bad. I forgot Busey was in DC Cab. That one's another.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fun movie. Obviously, we know he's in Lethal Weapon, so that's
so we know that. I didn't even mention
Highway. So he's worked with David Lynch. Let's not forget about that.
Yeah, The Firm. Yeah,
Firm. Yeah, a great career, and he's still working, kind of. So it's like, that's great.
Yeah,
I mean, and we'll connect this back to our next episode, which will be Michael Pare.
Yeah,
we'll talk about words again, probably.
Because
we kind of have to, because this is like a part one crossover.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So people need to tune in to our next episode, which
is
our next episode, right?
Yeah, it'll be. We'll record what's that, Brett?
Oh, I just want to make sure the scheduling is on track, so that
it is.
It is our next episode because we record all this stuff out of order all the time. So I just want to make sure.
Yeah, maybe we can post it almost back to back in a way if we can.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get this one as the next one for me. So my next one's going to be on a few days from now as we're recording.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
So ours probably won't be posted until October
15th. Yeah. But that's close enough.
Yeah. No, speaking of your show, did you guys want to plug it up a little bit?
Oh, yeah, sure. What do you want me to say? Shoot up to plug us?
Yeah, it's become an inadvertent.
Inadvertent catchphrase. Sound like butthorn.
Right, exactly.
It's our butthorn, yeah. Okay, so Comeuppance is the website, and then we have the podcast, and that's everywhere. You can get your podcasts.
Yeah, so just type in Comeuppance Reviews into the internet.
You'll find us. Yeah. And, Ty Action Rocks is the Instagram where you can find me, and Ty Comeuppance on Twitter, but no one usually messages me there. So it's like, but that's about it. I mean, when I posted a New Kids, so.
Oh, right, because you have an original VHS of the New Kids.
I have an original one, yeah. So James Spader as Dutra is the best. But that's about it. And those are our plugs. Thanks again for having us on. Oh, if you have plugs, you have your own plugs.
No, well, I'll mention too that in the description of the podcast, I'm going to put the link to the Comeuppance Review site, and I'll mention that your podcast is on all the main podcatchers. I do iTunes for it, which we were talking about this yesterday, Ty. Like, my phone is set up that the podcast that I'm subscribed to, it's supposed to give me a notification when a new podcast, drops? The podcast drops?
Yeah. You didn't get one?
Yeah, and so you message me like, hey, usually when you message me, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe sometimes I'm already on it, or whatever. And no, it was like, I think maybe my phone wasn't refreshing properly or something.
Oh, that happens. It's constant technology.
Yeah, but I did listen to it. I thought it was a great episode.
Oh, thanks.
Numbers.
2 + 2 = 10.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, good. I was wondering I'm happy to hear that you enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I think so. So you were talking about numbers in movies, and one of the ones you mentioned on that episode was One Man Force with that, which is one of my all-time favorites. I'm trying to remember what episode you guys discussed that in a previous one because you mentioned the movie in that one, but I think it was.
Yeah, we did all the one movies. Like one is the loneliest, or actually number.
That's right.
I know the official title, but
Matuzak, right?
Matuzak, yeah. But that's the episode we talk about all the one movie. One Man Army, One Man Force, Man Out, something like that.
That's right.
That is, I can see why that's one of your favorites because that epitomizes everything 80s action. Is and could be and should be. It's like the perfect movie.
It really is. I think for people out there, I think that's the one movie I think that we talk about that doesn't, the people that listen to our podcasts or check out our sites, I think it's the one movie that they haven't seen or they're like most likely to have not seen. And there's just nothing bad, I don't think, in that movie.
It's perfect. I watched it a couple of years ago and it delivered again. It was really good. Yeah.
No, right down to him just like holding a 2-liter bottle of Sunkist and like drinking it like the rest of us would drink like a 20-ounce bottle of Sunkist. Yeah. It's just like that. Those even little touches like that were just so amazing.
I can't agree more.
Cobra's so great with the little touches like with the cutting of the pizza with scissors.
Yeah.
It's the details that make it.
Yeah, it's all about the small details.
Yeah. So that was when you were mentioning. I mean, some of the other movies you talk about are great in that episode too. I always love how you guys group movies that way because
thanks.
Yeah, the titles, like we were talking about, Seagal titles with the 3-word titles, but a lot of these titles they just it's almost like they kind of just stick things together, and it's always kind of funny to like see them all piled up together like that, where it's like 10 movies that all have one, a certain word in the title.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, we have a bunch of those coming up. I think we have Tiger or something like that.
Too much.
I won't say that. That's all I'm going to say. Tiger. That's
right.
Yeah. Tiger. The word Tiger might be coming up.
Yeah, that's it. We won't see anymore. We have a lot more. So.
Yeah, perfect. Well, plugs on my side. Just the site dtvconnoisseur.blogspot.com. And, still the same 2 books out too, if anybody wants to check them out, A Girl and a Gun and Chad in Accounting. And of course I'm on all the main things as well, either as a DTV Connoisseur or DTVC. So, and all the links are on the site as well. So.
Great.
Yeah. But, thank you guys for coming out. This was a lot of fun. I think, Busey's always fun, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta love him.
Yeah, because you get infected by the spirit of Busey.
Yeah, it's cheerful.
He's always very upbeat. You gotta give him that.
Yeah, we try to be upbeat about him. So that's what we were. We weren't dour. We were very upbeat. So
exactly.
Right, well,
I guess we'll talk to you. We'll see you next week, basically.
We'll see you next week. We talk about Pare. Hopefully might be tougher, but we could carry on this upbeat spirit. When we will. About Michael Pare.
Yeah, we will.
So for people listening to this, keep an eye out for Comeuppance Reviews' podcast coming probably in the middle of the month of October.
Yep.
That will have and of course, if you're listening to this well after that, then it's already been posted. So
perfect. Who knows when people are listening to this?
Exactly, it could be listening 10 years from now.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So, but we're going to be doing some Michael Pare, right? Is it?
Yeah, Michael Pare.
Yeah, I've seen some trailers where they refer to him as Pare, but I've always thought of as Pare, like the song Olare. It's like Pare. Yeah.
Well,
you saved that one.
Mark.
Yeah, I'll say
it's not Michael Pare. We know that.
It's not Michael Pare. It's like, we'll make fun of that next week.
We'll mention all this next week.
Yeah, no problem. But we'll talk. Thanks again.
All right, thanks again, everybody, for listening. Talk to you.
Oh, bye.
Bye.
Mary redeemed a $50,000 cash prize playing Chumba Casino this year.
I was only playing for fun, so winning this was a dream come true.
Chumba Casino is America's #1 social casino experience. It's serious fun. With over 80 casino-style games to choose from, you too could win life-changing amounts of cash. Be like Mary. Log on to ChumbaCasino.com and give them a whirl. That's ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void or prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details. The voice in the preceding commercial was not the actual voice of a winner.